You're listening to Permission to Shine, the podcast. Stories of overcoming obstacles and finding self-empowerment with Sharice Bisram, Inner Power Activation Leader.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 88. Now, it's really funny because I only look at the episode number when I'm about to record. I know, lastminute.com, right? But it seems so impactful that today is a double-digit number because of the story that I'm going to tell you, right? And it really is all about transformation and embodiment because it's exactly what's happened to me this week. And as you know, I like to give you the direct tea of exactly what's happening in my life and how I navigate my way through it. Because obviously, the podcast is stories of overcoming obstacles to find self-empowerment. And I am the living embodiment of it, as you know, if you've been listening for a while. And if you're new to this, as I go on, it will kind of make more sense. So I will fill in the gaps a little bit for anyone that doesn't know my story. And obviously to remind you, like listeners, that obviously some of the things that have happened in the past and as to why this story is so impactful. So this week, I've had quite a few, let's say, blasts from the past situations and moments, right? So on Monday this week, I had a dance audition. Now, I was a professional dancer for 11 years. I officially retired from dancing and teaching professionally in June 2024. So, not that long ago, but with dancing, it really is that muscle that you have to keep active, right? And that goes for the pickup of choreography, that goes for your stamina, that goes for technical little things, you know, like it's you are an athlete as a dancer, you know, you're training all the time, choreographing all the time. It is literally like fine-tuning an instrument all of the time, and the instrument is your body, right? Now, I said the only job I would ever come out of retirement for is a world tour with an artist that I, grew up listening to. And funny enough, that's exactly what came up. So I thought, I wonder if the universe is sending me a sign that I can do both. Because this is it. In my work now, what I've learned is it's not about either or, it's about the choice of having both, right? And that could be whatever it is for you. But it's the abundance mindset means that you can have everything you want and more, right? Now, that doesn't always work, granted. But in some situations, you're presented with the opportunity because you can, right? And I think we're so brought up in this situation where we can only have one or the other or either or, that we don't realize that more is available to us. So we don't ask for more. That goes for relationships, that goes for pay rises, that goes for charging more on your services, or wanting more on your plate. Like I think about Oliver, please sir, can I have some more? It's like one of those situations, isn't it? But you can, and you're allowed, and a lot of people are scared to ask, right? So this is why, again, I felt like this was maybe a moment where the universe was presenting an opportunity for me to look at that part. And what's really funny is I've started to treacle in dance again back into my work through the embodiment stuff. And if you attended or saw that I did a Galentine's event, which combined my movement practices, as in like the releasing through the body, the somatic kind of movements, as well as dance. That was so transformational. I'm actually going to host another one that is going to be on the 28th, I think, of March. So I'll pop the link in the bio so you can have a look at that. And it's all about activating this main character energy through the embodiment piece. So that's kind of what dance looks like for me now. But obviously, I was like, right, this incredible opportunity has come up. I'm just going to give it a go. And I'm really glad I did go because it really shut a door on me leaving it ajar. And I feel like that was what that moment was for me. But also the knock-on effect of what happened in that space and room for my nervous system, my remembering, and all of the things has kind of been the layover, as in like it's this emotion, this thing that's come up to the surface for me to address in other ways. So what happens is when we get an opportunity from a past experience, or maybe you've seen X or something like that, your body, your mind, and your soul kind of goes back in time to that version of you. And what was really profound was being in that dance studio as the version of me, and also being present with the older version of me. So when I was learning the choreography in that space, It was so fast. Like the dancers in the room with me were the dancers that have continuously pushed and strived for perfection, incredible job opportunities. Like they have perfected their craft and been perfecting it since. I officially stopped wanting to be a professional dancer in the lockdown. So that's been 5 years of not wanting to really do professional work anymore, but done the odd thing. And as I was sifting out, like that type of thing. So in those 5 years that I kind of was sort of like dawdling, these people have been pushing. And it was very evident because my pickup was nowhere near as refined as them and all of the things in between. And I think my old version of me would have wanted to push myself to the limit. My version of me now did not. And what I realized in that space was dance feels hard now. And I think it always had felt hard, don't get me wrong, but I liked that feeling, that drive, that push, that force, all the masculine, right? And this is what I say to people because everyone always says to me, dance is a feminine space, like it's a feminine practice. And it is when you allow yourself to be and to feel and to move through it. Like if I learned that choreography and got it really well, I would have been so in my feminine energy, right? But because I was aware that I was going to have to try and push, that made it feel very masculine for me. And I just remember laughing at myself, thinking, this just isn't my space anymore, And it was very apparent, like the drive, the determination the other dancers had. I just didn't have it. I didn't have no want to push for it. And I thought, okay, that's a really nice way for me to see how I've moved through things. And so after the audition, they were going to text you if you got through to the next round. Now, I was aware that I wasn't up to scratch, like I was fully aware of that. But there is something that comes up again when you're waiting for something, right? You put all of your energy into it. If you really want it, my all of my energy wasn't into it, but it was partially into it. And I think that in itself, it's giving your power away to a circumstance that's beyond your control. And I think that for me is something I've always struggled with because you're always waiting for that next thing as a performer. Like when is the next job going to come? When's the next opportunity going to come? And you might be like that in your life. You might have never been a performer, but you might always be like, oh, when I, lose a stone, I'll be able to wear this type of clothing. It's we're just making excuses for not doing that thing and feeling that thing now. Like I'll be happy when I get into a relationship, for example. Like just be happy now, right? And this is obviously all of my work is how we find that space. But giving my power away, even just a tiny bit, was just this knock-on effect and reminder of um all of the things I used to be. And I think because I opened Pandora's box to a space that I thought I was really healed in, and again, this is the journey of doing the work, right? Is that we are always growing, always healing. It never stops. I think it opened up these feelings to come to the surface again. So I felt like I was sitting with my inner teenager. I was sitting with my 20-year-old self quite a lot of the time, Monday, Tuesday, sitting with her and just seeing what she needed really. And I think more than anything, she just wanted to feel seen. And I think because I do feel seen by myself now and I'm not running, it felt quite comfortable really. I didn't feel like there was any sort of big thing there. But what I did notice is instead of me putting pressure on myself to then do better as a dancer, which I normally would have done, I would have come out of an audition and been like, right, I need to be better at this, this, and this. I then found myself like nitpicking at my business and stuff like that in between. And I was like, I'm just misplacing this. So in that situation, when your brain goes into overdrive, abort mission. Like that's it, just stop what you're doing. And that's what I did. And I was glad. And again, following my practices, somatic releases, journaling, being aware of my feelings, speaking about it as well with my loved ones. That was all really beautiful spaces to be in. And in this meantime, by the way, it's currently my time of the month. So obviously feelings are heightened, emotions are heightened, and we honour that. And as well as that, we've now got Venus retrograde and Mercury is in shadow retrograde. So all of these things bring up different emotions, feelings, all of the things that are beyond our control. And again, wounded Charisse loved control. And I'd say healed Charisse does still like control. I'd say healing Charisse, by the way, higher self Charisse. But she understands that it's not hers to take or hold. So that's the difference. I know that it's not concrete state, it's a liquid state, and that's beautiful to be able to ride that wave in and out. And so on Wednesday, I plan to travel down to Brighton because I'm talking at Soul Speaks, and that was on the Thursday, the event. So on the Wednesday, I plan to get to Brighton for about 2, 3 o'clock, meet my friend, have some lunch, and then go and stay with our other friend before the event so we can all get ready together and, yeah, just be in the energy of each other, really, which is lovely. But the universe had other plans. I say the universe, my car. So for those of you that have been listening to me for a long time, or you know my story, you'll know that I did a lot of driving for university and also as a freelance performer. I did lots of gigs. I worked in the nightlife industry. When I say nightlife industry, I mean I worked in the nightclubs and I did fire performing as well as podium dancing. So it wasn't anything beyond that. But equally, hats off to them people that are doing beyond that. No, nothing wrong with that. Just thought I'd do a disclaimer because a lot of people always say to me, "Oh, you're a dancer. What type of dancing?" I'm like, trust me, if I was doing that other type of dancing, I would be a billionaire. No, I'm joking. Side note, I went off on a tangent there, but again, we're allowed. We're allowed. It's all fun and jokes. Um, so anyway, I get in the car. I'm 45 minutes into my journey, and then I get a notification that comes up that says I need to switch the engine off because it's too hot. Now, I have a Mercedes A-Class, and when I did used to have car troubles, I'd have like old Puntos and 106 Peugeots and all the things, which nothing wrong with the cars, but you think for a new car, my car's like 2019, so it's not super old, it's quite a new car in the grand scheme of things. And I did have a notification come up for the coolant quite a few times, and I've been topping it up. So I've been on it, right? I've not bypassed it. I've been very, very aware of the fact that it needed this stuff. So I kept topping it up. Even before my journey, I topped it up again. And I took some with me to be extra prepared. So I knew I had to wait half an hour, wait for it to cool down, top it up again, and then be on my way. So I thought, right, I'm halfway now. So if I need to get down there and I'm already halfway, then it should get me to the end of the journey. Um, Spoiler alert, it didn't. So basically, from that point on, every 20 miles, it wanted to stop. Had to do the same thing again. At this point, I'm running out of coolant, right? And then I probably stopped 4 times on the journey. And what would have taken me an hour and a half took me 4 hours. And I'd run out of coolant, so I had to use water in the end. I think most of you know that I carry a big water bottle around with me. Thank the universe that I do, because then I was able to pour that in there just to keep it topped up as an emergency. You're not supposed to really use water, but for this situation. And then the heating went, and I thought, oh, I used to have problems with my head gasket in my old cars when I was younger. So I was thinking, oh no, I hope it's not the head gasket. And then I started to get into this space of, um, I guess for when the first time it stopped, I thought, right, this is just one off. I'll just top the cooling up, it'll be fine. But when it did it again, I had to sit with myself and ask myself, what do I need to do right now? Or who can help me right now? And I think that that was a real shift in my mindset, because before I would have been in like real do mode. I'd be like, right, where's the nearest place to get coolant? How can I get the coolant here? Is there someone I can call that can come out and fix it, or rah, rah, rah. And actually what I needed was just someone else to speak to and have some advice from and help. And my friend owns a garage, so then I was able to call them and they were able to give me some advice on what to do. And then the friend that I was supposed to meet, I just kept them up to date. And then as I got closer to Brighton, where I was supposed to go to was further. Luckily, my cousin lives in Brighton. So I rang him, and he was a literal hero for me in this journey, because normally my stepdad would come to my aid. But because I was so far away from home, I was like, I don't want him coming all the way out. And also, I was planning to stay in Brighton as well. Now, all of this for me is such major shifts, because I wanted to be the person that did it all myself. I didn't want to put any responsibility onto anyone else. I didn't want to burden them with my troubles or anything like that. So I try and fix it all myself. Whereas now, I was literally like, someone help me, please. No, I was like, take this off of me. I don't want to deal with it. And I feel like that for me is the most feminine I've ever been in a hard situation. And I tell you what, it is the most safest space to be because I felt held the whole time. So although it was stressful and I was overwhelmed and I was tired, again, this is my time of the month. So it's all of these feelings and emotions that I'm feeling. The closer I got to Brighton, knowing that I was only like 5, 10 minutes away from my cousin, just made it easier. And as soon as I got to his, he dropped me where I needed to be, left the car there overnight. I then the next day got up ready for the event and I was feeling, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like when I was sleeping, and I don't sleep very well at other people's houses as much as I do at my own. Obviously, I sleep like a baby at home. But I'm safer in myself because, this is, I feel like to explain to you when you are a child that grows up in uncertainty, you develop hypervigilance and hyper independence. That looks different for certain people. I think because I went into the masculine mode, I developed those masculine characteristics, whereas you can develop codependencies, which are more sort of feminine, wounded feminine. Situations, um, behavior patterns is the right word. And actually, I wouldn't say they're feminine or masculine, but I feel like for the way that I'm describing them, it will make sense. So when I used to stay anywhere that other than my home, my hypervigilant was kicked in. I'd be looking at everything, trying to like, any little noise I'd be triggered by. I don't have that now because I feel safe in myself. So even that night when I get to my friend's house, I'm with my other friend and I'm trying to unwind, I was so open and vulnerable about how I was feeling. I wasn't trying to put on a front. I was like, it just feels really hard, but it's not as hard as it has been. And I feel like that for me is honesty and it's shown up in my integrity and being really transparent about it, right? And again, feeling really held by friends in that space, like it was just okay. They were just like, you need to say what you got to say, you need to feel how you got to feel. And that night, I went into my normal somatic practices and I made sure I did it all and like was really present with myself. And although I didn't sleep as well as I would have done if I was at home, considering of what happened in the day, I slept really well. And it's quite funny because I had a blow up bed and the blow up bed decreased throughout the night. And I was laughing at myself because I was like, oh, what? In my head, my subconscious mind was like, oh, should we go and get the pillows from downstairs and just make a mattress? But I was so tired that my body was completely switched off, but my mind just sort of triggered a little bit awake and then went back to sleep again. And before I knew it, my alarm went off and it was the next day. And I was like, you know what? Coming back to the affirmations I used to tell you all at the beginning, back in the day, the start of my journey, and a lot of people don't like affirmations, but for me, they did reprogram my subconscious mind. So all the way through the night when I was sleeping, I kept saying, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. And I just kept like, squeezing my body, I'm safe, I'm safe. I'm letting my vessel, my human self know that I'm safe. And I really did feel safe. And I remember we're already getting ready to go to the event and I had this really flamboyant outfit planned. If you've seen me talk before, you'll know I like to be extra. And I had this really flamboyant outfit planned on the introduction of when we come in, because obviously I was emceeing, so that means I'm basically like throughout all of everyone else's talks, I'm coming in, doing my own little talk, getting the audience engaged and keeping them, active and connected. I was like the golden thread of the event, basically. And I wanted to come in this outfit, get everyone really excited and then change into a more comfortable outfit to do my embodiment stuff as the day went on. But because in the morning I didn't feel that zestiness that I usually do, I put the second outfit on from the beginning. And then when my friend came in the morning, I said to her, I'm not feeling the first outfit today. I said to her, if I put that on, I would be masking how I really feel, which is I'm dealing with, what I'm feeling right now and I'm being okay with it. I'm sitting with it. So instead of trying to force this pretend feeling of everything's great, everything's amazing, which, sometimes it is. And I actually stand in that quite a lot when I'm feeling good and I bloody love what I do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love talking to people. I love being with my clients. I love all of that stuff. And I was looking forward to the event. Don't get me wrong, but I was aware there was other things in my subconscious, in my energy that I had to deal with. So I was like, you know what? Right now, it feels a little bit hard, and that's okay. And I'm just going to accept it. So I did put the other outfit on, so much more comfortable, didn't have to think about anything. And yeah, I mean, that did me the biggest grace because I'm showing up in honesty and integrity and vulnerability. So when we get to the venue, I said, to Laura, I was like, sage me. I was like, cleanse me because I need to be cleansed. And she said to me, your solar plexus is a little bit blocked. And I said to her, well, we know why, right? Because it's that sense of safety and being in my power, but feeling triggered from an old version of me, even though I've dealt with it in more of a feminine way, it was still something I was aware of. And I'm so glad she did cleanse me because then again, I'm starting, my energy's clear, I'm fresh to go. And the minute I get on that stage to start, everything changes because I go into my cup filling energy. And I'm a manifesting generator in human design, which basically means that the work I do, I love and it fills my cup up. So I'm re energized by the work I do because I'm so passionate about it and I enjoy it. And really and truly, I hold space for people, like I said, in the most honest way. Like, I told the women in the room what had happened throughout the day as I was delivering my talks and stuff. And they were all so accepting and grateful that I was so honest about it because I feel like this is the key missing part for me in a lot of um I guess a lot with influencers and with leaders and all of these big people that we see on these stages and these flashy lights and all of the things is that we see them in their accolades and their successes, but I want to know how they deal with the hard stuff. And I think for me, I try and tell you all about the hard stuff as much as possible so you know that there is always a silver lining to whatever the situation is, right? And I think that me showing up and saying to them, I wore this today because I wanted to be honest with you and stand in my truth because I'm not someone that masks how I feel. I don't pretend to the world that everything's amazing all the time when it's not. I don't do toxic positivity. It's not for me. Okay. And they received that so much better than if I was to be extra and turned on and like all of the things to project something that I didn't feel internally because that's not who I am. You will always get the most honest, rawest version of me in every situation. And actually, when I have got an orange fluffy outfit on, I'm still in my integrity because that's how I feel on that day, right? And I think it's so important that I'm saying this to you because I want you to really know that being in integrity and being in your truth really is all you ever need to be. If you're having a crap day, you're having a crap day, and that's okay. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean you have a crap life and you're a depressive person. It means that something really crap has happened and it's really okay. And what I knew for sure was whatever this situation was with the car, it would be sorted. I've had so many problems with cars in the past in my life. I'm like, it will just figure itself out. There'll be another way around this. And I'm really lucky that one of my best friends owns a garage. So, any problems with my car, they will sort it. They will find the best possible way for it to work for me because obviously we love each other and that's what we do as friends. But also really grateful as well to my cousin because he literally picked me up. He brought me back to his and I got to relax there for a while. And then this is where, after the event, my energy shifted. In the room, I could feel it shifting. And as well, like the women in the space there, deeply spiritual, beautiful energy. And again, all of that was just this safe space of me being held the whole entire time, which was so important. Because as I say to my clients and to women that I work with, just on any level, you're not an island. And if you are an island, you need visitors, right? And I think that was the important thing that I wanted to share was that I didn't do any of this on my own and I didn't want to. Sometimes we wear strong, independent woman as a badge of honor, and you are a strong, independent woman. You can do it on your own, but why should you? There's no badge at the end of it. You don't get an award from the universe that says congratulations, you did all this stuff on your own and it was really, really hard. Like, how can you make the situation easier for yourself? And that's what I have learned very much the hard way, so that now it gets to be easy. And it absolutely was because, like I said, my cousin picked me up after the event. I managed to eat with everyone there. and have a lovely time. Went back to his, he went back to work. I got to make myself lovely cups of tea, caught up with other friends, and just sat with how I felt and just prepared myself for how I was going to deal with the next stage of contacting the breakdown service and all those things. And then it got to 5 o'clock when I said I was going to contact the breakdown service and pressed it on the app, and the person was coming out in 45 minutes. That's unheard of, by the way, with this particular, with the AA. It's normally could be hours, and it was 45 minutes. And I thought that because the person was coming, I might not have been able to have dinner with my cousin, so he was prepared to do me a little pack up, which is so sweet. But when the guy came, he was really nice, could go above and beyond for anyone, and I was really grateful because my cousin does car parts. He actually knew the AA guy as well, which I think helped obviously the situation. But again, you can't write this stuff, can you? You never know when that's going to happen or what is going to happen. And the guy said to me, the cover that I had through my bank, because that's how I've got a couple of different insurances. I think some of you probably have the same thing. The cover that I had with the bank wouldn't tow me all the way from Brighton to where my friend's garage was. And he just said to me, look, you might have to pay a lot of money. And I said to him, I physically can't pay for this towing £400 when my car might cost that much money, right? So I need to be able to find a way for this to be different. I was like, please let me know what you can do. And I was really sincere and honest about that because, again, like, no one wants to pay unnecessary money, do they, for what they don't need, especially when I've had cover in the past that has towed me. I was like, come on, please help me. And I was really vulnerable as well and honest and sincere. And he said to me, let me see what I can do. And like an angel of a person he came over and he said to me, if I sign you up for the AA today as a full member, I can tow you. Guess how much for? £12. Tell me my manifesting mojo was not back in action. I dare you. And yeah, literally £12, paid the money, and he rigged up the system. It took him about half an hour to do that. And in that time, the dinner was ready. So I got to eat my dinner. I got to get towed all the way from Brighton to where the garage was, which is the other side of Kent. And when I get to the garage, my friend meets me there. I have a courtesy car wait in. And yes, the courtesy car is a little go-kart and it's clunky and there's no aux lead or anything like that in there. There's no it's all radio and like you got to lock it with a key in the door and stuff. It's not my Mercedes, but I'm so grateful because everyone pulled together for me. Even that AA man, and he was so nice. The whole way we were talking about, his family, we were talking about his upbringing and all the things. I mean, I probably gave him therapy without realizing, but still, I was just so grateful the whole way. And I kept thanking my cousin. And he was like, why do you keep thanking me? This is what we do. And I was like, I know, but you don't understand how a past version of me would not have been able to accept all this help. And I'm just really grateful. And then, yeah, so I guess I contacted the AA at 5. And by 10 o'clock PM, I was at home. And I thought, wow, like it sounds like a long turnaround. But when you think about the fact that usually, one, you'd have to wait for hours for the AA to come out. Two, I might not have been able to be towed. And three, even that in itself could have taken hours to have arranged or sorted out. So I feel like I won big time in that situation because I surrendered. I asked for help and I accepted it when it was there. And why I want to tell you all of this is because you don't have to do it all on your own. You just don't. There was no way through this situation and this obstacle that I would have been able to yeah, what would I have done? I mean, you can't fix it. I would have probably ended up doing so much more damage if I'd have thought, right, I'll just get more coolant or I'll just get this part or I'll just try and fix it or go to a quick mechanic. Do you know what I mean? There's so many things I could have done to hinder that process. And I just let go. And even at the event, I didn't think about my car once because I knew that when I finished the event and my cousin picked me up, that was when I was going to think about it. And so this was the dance that I was doing between my feminine and masculine. It was that my masculine said to my higher self, my divine masculine said, we're going to sort the car out at 5 p.m. So that meant that my feminine could say, okay, well, we'll just be present until then. And I was. and I got to enjoy the full event as it was in all of its glory, with all of the divine, beautiful speakers in a room with so many open-hearted women that were eager and ready to learn and transform, that it was just a really beautiful full circle from what could have felt really, really hard. And it did feel hard. I'm not going to lie to you, it felt hard, but nowhere near as hard as it used to feel. Like I was not. I'm not saying I wasn't in victim mentality, because I definitely felt wounded. No, I'm not going to lie to you. There was times where, and especially when I pulled up to my friends, I was like, oh, it's effort. But that knowing that I was safe throughout all of this was the greatest gift I could have given myself, and that was through these practices that I do every single day, this somatic work to regulate my nervous system, and all of these little things make up this safe home that I have for myself and for my soul. And that is more beautiful than I can possibly ever explain to you in my life, because I spent my whole life scared that someone I love was going to die again, or that, I wouldn't be able to control a situation, or that I was unsafe, because, a lot of things in my life happened where I was unsafe. But to feel safe in yourself, give yourself that permission to feel safe and to feel held, let me tell you, there's nothing more beautiful than that. And even down to today, um, you're going to listen to this a few days later, but I basically, my sister was off work as well. And I said to her, I'm not going to go to the gym today. I'm just going to go for a walk. And then she said, oh, let's meet for a coffee. And I said to her, well, I can't pick you up because I haven't got the space for the car seat for a little one. And then she sent me a list of all the things she wanted me to bring from my house to hers. And I said to her, I can't do anything for you today. I just need to be held. And I said that to one of my friends, and she was like, oh my gosh, isn't that so beautiful that you are just able to say that out loud? And I was like, yeah, it really is. And my sister was so beautiful, like, gave me the biggest hug, held the space for me. And, when you're in the presence of people that make you feel safe, it is that beautiful energy. And this is something that, again, I want to highlight, is that I'm always the older sister, I've always been that older sister, but allowing my sister to be there for me, that has made our dynamic so much more beautiful over the years, and I feel like my purpose when I was in survival mode was to protect her. And really, it was a double-edged sword, because I felt my worthiness through being the protector, which she gave me, right? So in the bit of healing, our relationship dynamic shifted. But what I want you to know is it doesn't matter where you've sat in the past, you get to rewrite a new future and a narrative. And this is why I think people find it so hard when they're going through their healing journey, and, the people that they once were friends with and now not their friends, but the people that are supposed to stay with you will grow with you. And it may take a little bit of time, there may be resistance, but when you create that space, and you're open and you trust that you are going to be the best version of you no matter what, people will rise to meet you. And today, being able to surrender into my sister was just really lovely, because she was able to do that. And then when we like spoke about what happened with me and like how I've moved through it, then I was grounded again. And then she was able to kind of speak about what she needed to. So it created that safe space for equality. And that's what we all deserve, right? And don't even want to say equality, I want to say harmony, because sometimes there's not a half and half, and that's okay, right? But one thing I know, throughout this whole experience, was that I was grounded throughout. And that's something that, again, the nervous system work does, and somatic work does. And just again, that knowing of feeling safe, that's what creates groundedness. And even when I was cleansed, she did say that to me. She was like, you're so grounded. She went, although your solar plexus feels unsafe, as in like you feel a bit, she didn't say unsafe, she felt, she said it's twinging. She was like, you feel really grounded. And I was like, it's because I trust. I know that everything happens for a reason. It was really funny as the car was breaking down on the motorway and the lights were going off. I kept seeing angel numbers, and I was like, I get it. I get it, universe. I get it. This is supposed to happen, okay? And even down to like the irony about everything is, obviously my dad was a mechanic, so he passed away when I was 17. And literally like 2 weeks before I learned to drive, I started learning to drive. So it's always ironic when there's car problems. Like when I was younger as well, having lots of car problems, that was actually the unresolved grief and all the things. But when it happened again, I was like, Dad, really, really again? And I was just, in victim mindset then, but quickly, obviously, was able to like shift myself out of it. So, yeah, I guess that's really the full circle of what I wanted to share with you is that there will be hard times in life, right? There's no running from that. Like, there will be hard times in life, but you get to choose an easier way in how you manage that. And that's really, really what I want to say more than anything is there is an easy option with how to deal with it. And I feel like how this is all planned out for me has been the easiest way it could have ended, in the best case scenario happened. And that was again one of the affirmations you used to tell myself over and over again, everything that works out for me in the best and easiest possible way, you know? So more than anything, you deserve to be held. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to feel safe in you. And if that's something you don't feel right now, this is an invitation for you to be dropping me a message, right? And for us to be having a conversation about it because you're not supposed to do it all on your own, And in this scenario, like I said to you, there were so many people that came to my aid because I was open to receive it. I wasn't expecting myself to do it by myself. And whether you're running a business, whether you are a mum and you have, lots of priorities, or whether you're just a woman that puts a lot on her plate, you don't have to do that. It gets to be easier. And that's the work I've done with my clients. It's the work I'm living through now for all of this reason. So my 6 month space, 6 months or 12 months rise is all about this sacred partnership. I am your go-to person. We work through the deep-rooted things, helping you feel safe in your body, in your mind, in your soul, integrating every part of you, your inner teenager, your inner child, all of the parts of you back to yourself. And that was something I was saying to myself before I went to bed. I call all of my power back to me. Because when we blame a situation and circumstance on what's happening, we're giving our power to it, right? Calling your power back to you means that you are embodied in everything you are, which is the work that I teach. So that is Rise. And then also, as I said, I'm going to be hosting my main character energy activation workshop, which is going to combine the somatic movements as I was talking to you about. There's also some tribal movement in there that connects us to these ancestral patterns that have been used for generations. I'm going to use that to kind of release out what no longer serves us, limited beliefs, obstacles, all of the things. And then I will create a beautiful, sassy routine for you to feel your most empowered main character version of you can possibly be. And then, we're just going to round off with some manifesting, some visualization. It's really a beautiful space to be in. And that's just £22. So if you are, intrigued about how I do the work that I do, I invite you to come along. And obviously, if you're listening to my story thinking that, gosh, this sounds so much like me or an old version of me or a me that I would like to be able to how to deal with things, then drop me a DM and let's talk about Rise. I'm wishing you the most beautiful week. I wish you a week of ease, of love, of light, of success. We are in retrograde season. We are in eclipse season as well. So be prepared for the transformations that are happening, but know it's all for your highest good. And like I said, if you're listening to time, we are at the end of the astrological year. We're about to start the new one. So if things are ending, if things are feeling difficult, it's all by design. Sending you so much love and light.
If this episode resonated with you, please do like, follow and share with someone that you know would benefit. If you're looking to dive in deeper to becoming your most unapologetic, most authentic, shining self, please do head to my website and join my newsletter where you'll find out about all of my upcoming events and speaking opportunities and all of the things that I have going on. And also, if you would like to work with me, please do drop me a DM on any of my socials or through my website. Love and light.